Welcome, everybody, to another episode of From a Certain Point Askew, the fastest-growing Star Wars podcast since the Resistance killed the broadcast tower on Coruscant. I'm one of your hosts, the Angry Ginger, and with me in studio, in Monkey Poo Studios, is neighbor Cole.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Well, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for answering my question. Mm-hmm. I'm doing good as well. Thank you
were you
for
talking
asking.
to the audience?
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping for a verbal reply back.
Right.
I am neighbor Cole, second mic on this podcast. We have a third micer with us as well.
Darth Mathias.
Darth Mathias. How you doing today, Matt?
A little too much of that, right?
It's my job to remind people that you can find all of our stuff for the show at FromACertainPointAskew.com and find us on Twitter at FacpaPod.
Yes, and you did a good job.
No, was that? I'm struggling to ask. Was that a stand person? What was that?
That was my Tusken Raider.
Call them by their real names.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I go by the real name, and yes, that was my best effort. I didn't even practice that. I just wrote down like a bunch of A's and R's, and I was like, nah, you just wing it. It'll be fine.
Do you think I committed a faux pas? Is that a racial slur in the Star Wars
I
galaxy?
think so. Yeah.
Calling them a sand person.
Yeah.
Well, they used to call them sand people in the originals, and I think they updated that to say that could be construed as racist, certainly.
Okay, on the show today we have a giveaway we're going to talk about. We've got a question of the week we're going to go through and have a little fun with. If you listen to our last episode, our Podtoberfest episode, we did some fun questions. We just kind of did a round table. We got some news on the desk, news from the Resistance. We've got our episode breakdown, and I think we've got an email in Maul Bag. So we're going to get all through this. First of all, I guess we'll cover the Podtoberfest wrap-up real quick. Shout out to Kyle, who won the Baby Yoda, and she was actually live in studio. She kind of took part in the episode. So she took that home. Baby Yoda's, living in a new domicile now.
There was much controversy about the fact that it was somebody in studio who won.
Was there?
People who were remote were very angry about it.
Yes. So we're gonna make it up to him because with the giveaway that we're teasing, we'll talk about at the end of the hour. You're gonna want to stick around. Make sure you listen to the whole episode because this bad boy is going to be. Everyone's gonna want. I want this.
Yeah, and there's some other swag we got here sitting at the end of our table as well that we will end up giving away here over time, correct?
That's right, yes. So lots of giveaways. So if you're a Star Wars fan, if you've got friends who are Star Wars fans, have them come over, give us a listen, take part in the show, and you can win some awesome swag.
And there's a really big item. That's all I'm going to say.
Shout out to Grant and Dave for joining us that hour. As Matt called it in his prelude to the episode, the Star Wars shit show.
That's right.
I don't think you were off. It was a fun listen to though. And maybe just because I was already podcasting for 10 hours or so by then. So it was like Swiss cheese anyway. So going back and listening to it and filling in the gaps.
I think we may have had a couple too many snorts of spotchka.
Well played.
Good ball.
Neighbor Cole was feeling it at the top of the hour. I pulled it together for the show and we did okay, but it was a good time.
What was it like for you to come in after being out all day doing soccer and hanging with the kids, and then we're all just already in the bag? Although
it was good. I'm used to it because every year, I check in throughout the day a little bit just to see how things are going. And it's funny because you guys are just going strong and plowing through. And I mean, you have just these tiny little breaks between hours where, it's maybe 2 minutes to go to the bathroom or something, grab something to eat. So it's a tall order to go through all that stuff. So to come in at the end is always fun because then, you guys are well on your way, nice and oiled up, and, and I can just dive right in.
You were that was the night you were oiling up pretty good too. You were Coronas like.
Yeah, the Power Hour, which we did 2 hours after Star Wars Hour, really put me over the edge at the end. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
I feel like every year that I've done Podtoberfest with Matt, he's the breath of fresh air that like rejuvenates me.
Yeah.
Because he always comes in with really interesting. We had Ty from the 2 on 3 podcast as well. They came in with the Wiki What, which. Like that always gets my brain firing and like makes me.
I love that hour.
We always just you and I just sit and look at each other and think of what could these words strung together mean, and we try to make something funny happen out of thin air, and it's really like a little mini improv.
I thought that you guys did a really good job with the words the Wiki was this year. Maybe it was my favorite hour.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's always a little challenging at first to come up with that. Just for those who don't know, basically we're looking at terms that are on Wikipedia that are maybe steer you into a bad place to think of what they might mean, and maybe there's something more benign, or vice versa. And so it's always fun coming up with them. But at the beginning, when you're looking through, you're just like, oh my God, there's so many things to look through here to find this. But I thought we came up with a good list. And as people will hear when you do your 30 days of podcasting in November, and they listen back to that episode, the last one I brought apparently was like the first one you guys ever brought years and years ago, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, if you're interested, what we're talking about is our Podtoberfest was a marathon of podcasts, and we did every hour was themed. So if you want to go over and listen to, Matt was on the last 3, but Cole and I were there the whole day. We had a crash for a little bit, so we were down. So out of the 13 hours we planned, I think we did 9 or 10. So there's still a big bulk. I release an episode a day, so each one of those hours will come out starting November 1st. And then we do a 30 days of podcast on the 7 Days of Geek feed as well. So we just keep going after that, and we put new content out. So if you like this show and you want to check something else out, you can either subscribe to 7 Days of Geek or go to monkeypoostudios.com, and all the shows are on there.
And something we teased at the very end of Star Wars Hour via sound effect was this big giveaway we're going to do.
Yes. Do we want to at least say what it is now, and then we'll give the rules at the end? Or do we just want to keep teasing it and make them like, what is it? What is it?
We'll make them wait till the end.
Okay, fair enough.
What could it be?
Right.
What could it be?
Okay, so we've teased that big giveaway, and trust me, you're going to want to pay attention to what it is, and you're going to jump through hoops for it. I promise you. You're going to love it. But we got a question of the week. Which one of you two wants to give it to the audience? Give them what the question of the week is. And, of course, they don't get to answer. They can send an email in, but we'll answer it on air for them right now.
I'll go ahead and read the question of the week. And I know Matt's probably itching to answer this one. So you're locked in a room with Jar Jar and Toro Calican, and you have a gun but only one bullet. Who do you shoot?
Oh.
I would say
so there's 3 people.
More of a blaster with only 1 charge, right?
There you go.
Okay.
That's better.
I think you should have went the other way, and you're playing the dead man in the middle like in Saw. And Jar Jar is tied to the wall on one side, and Toro's on the other side. Like, what's that all look like?
Better. I have an answer.
Yeah, Matt.
I think you wrote this because you had an answer.
I did write this. You two go ahead.
I would shoot Jar Jar.
Yep, I concur. Jar Jar by far.
The comic relief would be okay at the beginning, but if you're trapped in a room and it's you and some human dude that maybe he's got some good jokes. You probably relate to him a little bit, but Jar Jar, no.
Well, then you're stuck in there with Toro Calican, who's got a little emo. I'm a sulky young bounty hunter.
You guys really didn't like him. He didn't get on my nerves.
He didn't really bother me, but he's one of the most forgettable characters, as Matt likes to point out.
I feel like he's not. I feel like he's brought up all the time on this show.
He is not forgettable for me. He is one of the most annoying. I mean, he's top 2 worst characters ever for me, at least.
So are the top 2 worst characters the 2 in this room right now?
Yeah, I threw Jar Jar in because everybody picks on Jar Jar, and it's just a commonly not disliked character. So I thought, let's put something that's out there that most people would dislike, somebody who most people would dislike, and then the person that I dislike probably the most, and figure out how we go from there. Okay. But my answer is that I would shoot myself.
And make them suffer with each other.
And then they fight to the death to get out of the room. Somehow.
And I don't have to deal with either of them.
That's pretty good.
That was my initial
thought. A little
thought.
dark to start, sorry.
Right, yeah.
That was my initial first thought, too, was to kill myself.
I say, Matt, you're really good with the FACPA Twitter feed. If you put that up, you want to keep track of that? And then next week we can read some answers from the listeners as well?
I will do that.
Okay.
For sure.
All right, so there's our question of the week. We've got some trivia we're going to give at the end of the episode, but you know what? I want to get into this. We've been gearing up for this. The reason why we created this podcast was because of this show, and since we've created the show, we've done reviews, but now we're here in the midst of it. It's episode 1 of season 2, The Marshal. What were your guys' first take?
My first take, right off of after watching this, I was like, man, this is going to be an awesome
season. Yeah,
awesome season. I did a little looking into some things after the season or after the episode was over, just like I kind of always do if I had any unanswered questions. But I paused halfway through and I took notes as I was going along, like because I knew we'd be talking about it. I wanted it fresh in my mind.
Right.
I was gonna watch it through again.
So was I.
I have no real critiques for the entire thing. Like it was excellent. First
really?
opener.
I thought there was one part that you would.
I have one little critique, I guess, and it didn't take me out of it, but it had to do with Matt's intro with the how much Tusken Raider speak do we have to listen to in this episode? Like we get it, the Mandalorian speaks Tusken Raider or whatever that language is, but yeah,
I thought you'd be all over like the racial equality or whatever. That was kind of the message. Between it was like it's clearly the most Western of all of them so far. Like cowboy rolls into town, and it's like the city folk, the townsfolk, the saloon, whatever, the people in the Western town, and then the Indians who live out in the mountains. So it's like cowboys and Indians sort of this episode.
That didn't take you there at all.
You didn't get that?
Yeah,
No.
Maybe I'm just not the racist piece of shit that you think I am.
It certainly gives you a lot more insight into that group of people, into that species. Because before, all we've ever known is, they're like these savages that take stuff. They're out there. You're scared of them. They attack people.
Right.
And that's how we're introduced to them in the first trilogy.
Yes.
But with this, it's more showing that they are an actual people that are doing things that have been there for generations. Have this whole history. What?
Yeah. I said they have feelings too.
They have feelings too, and so I thought it was good to show that. You got a taste of it in chapter 5 when he was with Toro, and he was communicating. So you got a little taste of that. But this was certainly an extension of that, and it really shows that it kind of shows off Mando's worldly talents and experience, because it just shows that he can kind of operate in any world, and obviously he's had to as a bounty hunter to be able to do his job.
I will say one of my takeaways from this episode was exactly that. Was even though we've seen him do things in all the episodes, whether the fighting or his skills, or whatever, for whatever reason, everything seemed to like come together in this. Like everything was just working. He was like out of 10 on everything. Like he rolls in that where the Gamorreans are fighting, and they put guns on him, and he just whoops their ass. Like it's a well shot fight.
He's not so sullen and withdrawn from everyone either. You notice that he's kind of becoming more humane, like not humane, but getting in more in touch with his humanity. Like he's talking to people. He wouldn't say
true.
He wouldn't say a mouthful if he, he wouldn't say anything throughout like the second season. Started warming up a little bit in the second, but it's just like he's just more. It's almost like his voice is more mellow.
Well, I would say like in the first season he was a bounty hunter, and in this one like he's on a mission for Baby Yoda.
Well, he's a caretaker.
He has to talk to people in order to find information. Like his role has sort of changed as a
Baby
character.
Yoda has softened him.
Yeah, there you go. At night he snuggles with him.
That's right.
He's more of an interrogator now.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, the guy who all it's ever talked about is how he's so great at killing.
Yes,
but he's the one diffusing situations throughout the episode.
I love. Okay, so we open up, and we've seen it in the trailer, so it was nice to see that shot right away. I was like, oh, okay, so here we are. It's all the graffiti, the red eyes, all this, and he says, I need to come in here and see, what is his name, Koresh.
Koresh.
Yes.
Which unbeknownst to me until I look at your show notes, John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I think we had speculated that it sounded just like Favreau, and going back and listening to it again, it still sounds like Favreau. It does not sound like John Leguizamo to me at all.
Although you watch the character talk, and I'm wondering if Leguizamo actually did what do they call that? I'm losing
Facial
the
capture.
Yes, like facial, because Leguizamo has like that sort of way his mouth moves when he talks. He's got like this, he looks like he's got like a bag of marbles in his lips. And that character sort of had that. So when I read Leguizamo, I was like, oh my god, it was, because that was one of the things that stood out, was the way that Cyclops guy, like the way he talked.
So he goes and he's in this underground Gamoran fight club, right? And Leguizamo's character Koresh wants to collect. He's like a Beskar collector, right? Is what the premise is.
Yep.
And Mando's trying to get a lead on another bounty hunter, or where the rest of his covert went to, right?
Yes.
Because he's trying to work the network. He's trying to work the network of bounty hunters to get information, track down Baby Yoda's bloodline, lineage, family.
Or Jedis.
Or Jedi, yeah correct. You want to take it from there? Like, how does it end? Like we've seen this in the trailer quite a bit. You get the Whistling Eagles come out. Mm-hmm. Baby Yoda goes into his mobile defense crib. What is it? It's a
floating mobile defense carriage.
Mobile defense carriage.
I was going to ask really quickly, have you guys ever been to a UFC fight? Because I was wondering if it had the same kind of feel to it. I noticed you called it in the notes the Underground Gamoran Fight Club, which I thought was, so it's the UGFC, not the UFC.
Right.
But I love that. I just love that scene when he walks in. The music kind of changes, and just all the characters they show. So that's one of the great things about Star Wars for me, is all the characters they show that are in the flesh. and all the different types of species. I just thought that set the tone from the get-go. I loved it.
Did you catch in the background? I don't know for sure. I'll have to look it up. But one of the shots when they were showing like the different people, the spectators, one of them there was a character. It was a toy, I think, that was going to come out. It was one of the first images they released for when Force Awakens, I think it was. And I can't remember. It was like the sheriff of.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Where Rey was. That character it was cut out of the movie and they never released it, but in the background you can see that character.
Again, like they talked about in the Disney Gallery.
Yeah.
The toys that nobody plays with.
Right, yeah.
We take those and we use them.
Yeah. Shout out to Jabba's Palace too, because they had 2 of the swine guards or pig guards, whatever they were, fighting in the ring.
Those are the Gamorreans.
Gamorreans.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. And then
I like how they because I mean they're fighting with like these giant battle axes, so like one hit's gonna, but they got like these force fields on them.
Yeah.
So really they're just like taking the blow, like the force of it, but they don't get cut. That was interesting.
And then the bouncer was one of those species of the snake.
Twi'lek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Twi'lek,
Yeah.
whatever the hell they are called, but. Yeah, that was cool. That's kind of an homage to Jabba's Palace, I thought.
Yep, and I like the twist. Like, he goes there looking for information, and, the guy's like, well, you want to make a bet on it? And he's like, well, I don't bet. And then, oh, okay, well, we'll just take it from you then. And guns come out on him, and he's like, I'm going to let you live if you
unnecessarily shot one of the UFC fighters.
Right, yeah.
I think that was...
Yeah, game over.
Pretty violent.
So yeah, but I mean that's when he gets in a fight and he's tussling with them all. A blade comes out. He fucking like shanks one of them. Immediately turns around and throws it, kills the other one. It goes in the chest, and I'm like, oh, I mean we get a little violence here.
Who's what species of genius was the one who wants to attack a Mandalorian with bare fists? He just keeps punching him in the helmet.
I love how he's using the helmet as like, yeah.
Like, he's not
well, that's the thing. At first, the punch to the helmet like seems to be affecting him, and then he headbutts the guy's punch. That was an awesome move. I love that.
That's the Brian Dennehy move from
what is
it? Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yep. It'll come to me. It's Cuba Gooding Jr. and I can't remember the kid's name. And yeah, Brian Dennehy was
Gladiator.
Gladiator. Yep. There you go.
Top of the head, he puts it down.
So quickly, he subdues everybody. That guy runs and escapes. And this is the shot we see in the trailer where the guy's hanging from the lamppost, and he promises he's not going to die by his hands. Gets the information from him that he is aware of one Mandalorian on Tatooine. He's like, I've been to Tatooine before. There's no Mandalorian there. He's like, I promise you there is. So okay, and he just walks away. Hey, let me down. And you see all the fucking red eyes. Yeah,
the way he ropes him and ties him up, that was awesome. Again, just so many Western themes here, but I just thought that was pretty sweet the way he did that in like 3 motions.
How many women are watching that show just being like, oh,
is that Christian Grey?
Yeah.
Tie me up. So then he's like, you won't die by my hands, and then a little play on words.
50 Shades of Mandalorian.
Yes.
Little play on words, and like shoots the light out, and then the red eyes that you see at the beginning of the episode, a pack of dogs or wolves or some sort of creature comes moving in, and that's the end of Gore Koresh, as we know him.
So we land on Tatooine, and we see Amy Sedaris' character, Pelimato.
You were right, wasn't it? You that said that a while back. I think you asked, do you think we'll see her again? And I was like, I don't think so. Right away.
Were you like, nope, one for him?
Yep, White J.
I got written down here. Mando docks at Pelimato's one-stop shop for all of your spaceship repairs and babysitter needs.
Yeah, she was super excited to see Baby Yoda.
She was so excited. Thank the Force. She's just her heart melts when she sees the baby.
And it's just like, if this thing ever divides or buds, I will gladly pay you for the offspring.
And then we get shout out to R5 with the bad motivator comes rolling in. He comes. You see the little area where his motivator was repaired, right?
Did you watch when the map came up? Like, I went back because I was like, it would have been a funny little thing had like it been a glitch, and the first part before it went to the map of Tatooine, it was the missing map they needed to find Luke. Just like a glitch of it. You're like, R5 had it the whole time.
Wrong one.
Oops.
It was all in that bad motivator.
He caught over the cloud. He caught the virus from R2. Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a quick exchange. It was nice to see her, but this time he doesn't leave because he was good on his word. He's like, wherever I go, baby goes with me. So he's on a speeder heading into where this what are we calling this place again?
Mos Pelgo.
Yeah,
new town. That's what I like about where the territory they're at. Like, hey, let's just create a new town on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Well, and it seemed like there were a lot of people there for a town that nobody even knew where it was, but that's okay. But I also love the fact that Baby Yoda is like a dog with its head out the window in a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Driving along.
Already starting to see GIFs or GIFs and memes of that coming out. Like he's got his ears blowing in the wind. But yeah, I think we were speculating on the towns in Tatooine at one point, so that it shows up now that we know that there's 3: Mos Eisley's, Mos Espa, and Mos Pelgo.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
It's
not a whole lot
there's
of
Anchorhead, and then there's the other ones. Anchorhead and Tashi Station, which I don't know if that's necessarily a town or just a little settlement.
I assume Tashi Station was just like a store next to the fucking cantina.
It's exit 173 off the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
Get all your power converter needs.
Yeah,
it says it right there on the sign.
Yeah, here's the first montage we get. He's got to pull over and hang out with the fucking. It's like he's like getting directions from the fucking Tusken Raiders.
Campfire, eating s'mores with the Tuskens. Cue the montage.
And then finally he rolls in, and this is where you get that west, like the cowboy rolling in on a horse, slowly through the town. Everyone's just sort of on the, the what are they, the decks of the building? I don't know, whatever they are, like in the old Western town,
Porches.
Yeah,
right.
You're right, sure.
You half expected to see a couple blurgs tied up by rope to a little.
That's where they missed out right there. Yeah, no blurgs.
I knew they were missing something. Where are the blurgs?
No blurgs so far.
I like the Lash LaRue jangling of spurs whenever he walks in. It's just his Beskar armor moving around or whatever, but it's always you always hear like ding ding ding.
Did you hear the speeder though?
Yeah.
It sounded like a Harley.
Yeah, it did. Yes.
Thank you.
That's the first time I've ever noticed that.
And I don't know if it's something that we would have seen before, or if it just speaks to the fact that she was like, it needs work. Like that thing's not the best bike.
Oh.
And so maybe it's kind of half,
that's true.
Beaten up.
That's true.
Maybe it's a hybrid.
Yeah, right.
They
got a lot of solar power there on Tatooine.
They're behind the times too. Yeah, they're behind the times. It's half hybrid.
There's
half fusion reactor.
Yeah, there's a lot in first times in the Star Wars universe we're getting here. Like we've heard of Cobb Vanth before. I want to say Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth. Yeah, we've heard of him. We've heard that he's got the Boba Fett armor. He kind of walks in. I love how he's just like checking them out, and then the helmet comes off, and you can almost see like the eyes come out. Like you can't do that.
We do get to hear the name of the drink that they're drinking, the Spatchka, right? Mm-hmm. The 2 snorts of Spatchka. Timothy Olyphant.
Yes.
Get us 2 snorts of Spatchka. And he's like, I was wondering, I mean, it probably isn't the mysterious blue drink from episode 4, because I don't think Aunt Beru and Luke and Uncle Owen are having that with their dinner. But it was blue. It was pretty blue, but I think it was like more of a brighter blue than the...
It was more fluorescent.
Yes.
Had that alcoholic glow to it.
Yeah. It was like
and the bartender is I looked it up. Where is it? Weequay? Is that what you say it?
Yes.
It's one of the guys that you saw on the sidecar that were trying to push Luke into the Sarlacc pit while Jabba watched.
Oh, move him in position.
Looks like that. It's also the same species. I looked it up as Hondo Ohnaka, who's in the Clone Wars and in Star Wars Rebels. So, which may come up as we discussed last episode or 2 episodes ago, with the whole season 3 is supposed to be titled The Buccaneer, and he's a pirate. So I'm wondering if we're going to continue to see more of those types of people.
Who's ready for the behind the scenes?
Already.
I'm already ready for I need to know what this is. I want
yes,
all the things they pulled from.
There was I did read the guy that played the bartender, the actor, is actually the same guy that played the bartender in Deadwood to Timothy Olyphant's sheriff.
Funny.
So he's the sheriff in both towns, and this guy's the bartender in both towns.
I don't think there was as many C words in this episode though. By the bartender.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a big thing. Like this, where they sit down and he's like, I want the armor. You can't have that. Give it back to me.
And then you get the most epic showdown ever. Like it was you could cut the air with a butter knife. It was super super tense between Vanth and Mando. They're just epic. I thought.
We'll call him Bob Vance.
Bob Vance.
Bob Vance.
Like the office.
From Vance's
Vance refrigeration. Yeah. What kind of work? What line of work you in, Bob?
Well, and I thought it was funny too. I was thinking about this when he showed up, and you immediately know who he's supposed to be, and I thought, it just, when you watch this first episode, you think back to all the speculation on shows that we've listened to or people we've read or the stuff that the suggestions we've made, predictions we've made, and it just all goes out the window. I can think about people saying, I don't think we're going to see Cobb Vanth 10 minutes in.
Yeah, 10 minutes in.
You know what I mean? It's just so funny to see some of those things happen instantly when you're like, oh no, I guess it's going to happen.
Did you notice the bullet hole?
Yes,
I did.
The bullet
hole in I'm assuming it's Boba Fett's armor. But also he's just got it just doesn't look right on him.
Well,
looks super skinny. and he's got like one knee pad, and then he's also got like the rest, like everything else is on. My question is, where the hell does he keep getting the replenishing the rocket?
Right, I thought the same thing.
That's my first question. Then secondly, he's just got like a red fleece shirt on underneath.
Yeah.
You're like 90% exposed here. You got one chest piece, and like I love the fact that he gets this armor, and now all of a sudden he can take on this miners guild.
But they show it. This is the first time like you get a legit flashback in like a Star Wars live act anything.
That's a bit of a plot hole to me.
Is it?
It's just like you just get this armor, and now all of a sudden,
it's not like
it
he's
gives you
messing.
confidence. It makes you exude confidence when you have this armor on. But by the way, have you ever seen somebody wear like a button-down shirt and then put like a sports jersey over it, and it just looks really awkward? That's what that looked like. When I saw him walk in the room with that gear on, it looked like that, and or it almost looked like he had a kid's Halloween costume on. I was like, why is it so small and not covering much of you? So I looked back at Boba because I'm like, how did he wear this? It's very similar. It's just that he has like the gray shirt, the gray like almost cargo pants, so it all blends and it looks like it's all one connected piece. But really, in the end, it's the same exact armor setup. Although I think Boba had like the cup, he had the Beskar, protect the jewels, but. But otherwise, it's just because the red just stands out so much. It makes that armor look so tiny.
I think there's some of that was on purpose.
I just did 12 hours at the office on Wall Street, but I got a Kings game to catch later, so I'm gonna throw my jersey on over top of it. It's just like
exactly that look. It's so awkward looking.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're having the duel. You think, oh shit, it's gonna go down, and then all of a sudden the Earth starts to rumble, and another first for Star Wars. All we've ever seen is just the skeleton of the Krayt Dragon when C-3PO is walking through Tatooine when they first crash land on there. Right? We've never seen anything like. So this like reminds me of fucking Transformers. Like I wrote in there, it's just like really the scorpion under the sand and.
Well, and really quickly, to kind of go along with that feel of the standard Star Wars kind of silliness that you include in with the tension, when they're having the standoff and the rumbling starts and he's just like, just a second.
Yes. Yes.
That is so Star Wars.
Uno momento, por favor.
But even when he's telling the flashback, and he's like, it was the night of the Death Star, the second one. Explosion. Yeah. He says, I like how he just the second one. Like
and they got it. They're broadcasting it live over hologram over on repeat. I thought that was pretty cool.
At the B-Dubs Tatooine,
Buffalo Wild. Yeah. It was buy one get one wing night.
He makes the arrangement with him. He's like, okay, fine. So I'll give you the armor if you help me kill the dragon. And again, I think Mando needs to work on his negotiation skills. Because every time something comes up, he just pauses and goes, deal.
It's almost like. I don't have to kill you. I'll help you so I don't have to kill you. Okay. That seemed to be like what the negotiation was, right? To him, he was like, okay, I'll do. But I mean, like, I'd have just shot the fucking guy and been off planet because, boy, there was a lot that happened. But I mean, we needed this episode. This episode was fantastic.
Baby Yoda has softened those edges of him. But it's like last season with my boy Calican when he's like, you go get that blurg. I'll sit here with the speeder. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Stand up for yourself, Mando.
Get a backbone.
He grew up without a father, all right? Leave him alone.
Just looking for approval.
Yeah, really,
Just looking for some male approval. Oh, yeah, I went and got the speeder. I'll polish it up for you.
The Mandalorian's got daddy issues.
Yeah, for sure.
So we go through. I mean, there's a whole thing. We see the Krayt monster eats a blurg, or not a blurg, but a bantha takes off. He says, "I know where it lives." So they go on route. Another, this is where they run into a bunch of. Well, first he's the fucking what I write down. He's like the fucking dog whisperer to these Tusken Raider pets, and then he can speak to them. So they have this whole thing where like, okay, they decide that they're all going to work together, so they can kill the Krayt Dragon, and everyone gets to live in harmony. Is the plan. But
how uncomfortable did Cobb Vanth look sitting around that campfire, not knowing what anybody's saying, not knowing what he's supposed to do? He's real uneasy about the whole thing. I loved his body posture, like his body language, which is so perfect for that.
He was among his enemies.
Yes, right. And so he looked like he can't. When are we done with this? So I can get out of here.
I like the decision to continually show the face of Timothy Olyphant because you don't put Timothy Olyphant in a fucking helmet.
Right.
He's such a good dreamboat. Just like he has the helmet on for like 20 seconds.
He takes the helmet off and his hair is fucking luscious.
Flawless.
Perfect. Yeah, like Lego hair.
But we need to discuss the flashback because I mean, this is, from what I've heard, this is the whole aftermath story. Like, this is the story from the book where he gets the army, the ammo, and I guess it's like they show you in live action form of that whole thing.
Yeah. So the moment the second Death Star explodes, the town of Mos Pelgo gets overrun by what sort of syndicate was it? It was a miners guild, or
they were just like
mining collective. That's what it was.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
So they start killing off all the people in the town apparently, and
but
Bob
did you
Vanth,
see what he escaped with?
He escaped with the ice cream maker.
Right.
Yeah.
I shouted it out. I go, it's the ice cream maker.
Yeah, and it's full of like what is it? Some sort of crystals?
Yeah.
Cerulean crystals or something.
So, they call the thing the Camtono. Because I heard him say that, and I was like, oh, that's what they call the ice cream maker. But clearly, this is a device used to store valuables. So Wilro was probably like had his life savings.
He was running with his goods.
To escape Cloud City.
Yeah.
It's like it's the equivalent to a safe that you find in a hotel.
Exactly.
You gotta use the correct key.
It's a Cloud City safe. It's the room safe.
Probably stole it from.
Lando's like, I'm charging you for that.
Wilro probably broke into Lando's personal cape collection. That's where Lando kept his most prized capes.
But then, yes. So in that flashback too, I love how he just walks into that cantina like, "Sup, losers," and just mows them all down.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. And that's when he first realizes that the armor takes the shot with the armor, and he's like, "I'm cool." Luckily, he hit me in the 6 square inches I have of armor here.
And he also is very proficient at the UI of the heads-up display,
right,
targeting fucking moving speeders and shooting rockets off of his.
Shout out to Favreau, because like he's like, oh yeah, this is going to my script immediately. No one shoots that rocket. I'm shooting this rocket.
Yeah,
like everything you want to see from Boba Fett's like popping off this armor right away. He just like goes in there.
Scope, that little drop down scope, you actually get to see used, which you hadn't seen before. So that was really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it was all right there, and so like this the armor's pretty badass, but it almost is like version 1, and then the Mandalorian's got like version 4.5.
I had it in my notes too that we finally got a use from the frickin' flamethrower. It garnered enough respect between the Sand People and the Tusken Raiders and Bob Vanth, because they were about ready to go to blows.
Right.
Mando flame throws him, and we know it's not working against anything else, but it mesmerized everyone and calmed the situation.
Right.
So it finally got some finally garnered some use.
It's just a separator. That's it.
He was just sitting there going, what am I going to do? Oh, you know what? We'll try this.
Do you
That's an attention getter.
Do you think they they had matches when they started the fire? And then, after he blew his big fucking wad all over the place, they're like, why the fuck didn't you use that to start the fire?
Yeah, they didn't even have matches. They had to, whittle the sticks together or whatever.
You've had 2 sets of gloves this whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, Floyd, we're in the Rockies.
I mean, there's a lot of they get the people together. They're all in town. There's the fight where we don't agree with you. Stop dropping shit, and
the Cowboys
fight for a minute. Yeah,
Cowboys meet the Indians, as you so eloquently put it.
Yeah,
and they all decide to join up together and take on this Krayt Dragon.
What the place where the dragon lived? Did we want to talk about that for a second?
Sarlacc
and what
Pit,
that used to be?
Yep. Old Sarlacc Pit.
Now, what's your take on it though? Because I've got there. I mean, there's 2 choices. Did Boba Fett kill the Sarlacc, or did this Krayt Dragon kill it and take its spot?
Yeah, I didn't think about the former. I kind of took it at face value, thinking that this thing ate the Sarlacc.
Right.
But maybe you're right. Maybe that's how Boba got out, was he killed the thing, and maybe that dragon just came in and ate up the scraps when he was gone.
Exactly. But the fucking hungry little thing, isn't he?
Oh man, he's huge.
All you have to do, that's true. One little Tusken Raider and a Bantha once a week's not going to do this guy any good, I guess.
I don't think that's enough.
No, I like when they got the old plan with the rocks. He's like, what's that? Well, these are us. And what's that? It ain't that big. He's like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I love how he confirms it. He is.
Yeah, it's the scale. That's the scale.
And then he drops a bunch more rocks. Who are those? Those are your people. We're going to get everyone to go in here. And then we see it, this thing comes out of the cave, and that poor little Tusken guy is like, take the Bantha, and he's running, fucking gets chewed. So now we're at the plan here, and they're back at the cave, and they've got a couple of Tuskens, and they've already buried all their mortars. I don't know what their bombs or
Look
explosives.
like charges, space charges or some sort.
So their plan is they know the stomach is the weak part, so they got to get this guy to come out of the cave, come out of the sand, and then get far enough out because they know he's a big guy, and then just boop, boop, and he's done for. But nothing goes as planned in anything, let alone the Star Wars universe. But this is where like it turns into like where they're putting money on the screen. Because now you're like, oh shit, they're flying around.
Jetpack scene.
Yeah.
You get to fly around and they're battling the. They don't shoot the thing in the eye. I thought they were going to do an eye shot at one point. It
looked like he was aiming for it, but that's a pretty big fucking monster.
Yeah,
and he's got his little
small eye.
Yeah, and even his little eviscerator. I don't even think we got a name for that gun yet, but that like no effect on that thing. Maybe it popped a zit. I don't know.
But right before that, the reason they go into flight is because that thing starts spitting acid. It's got like acid saliva. So all of a sudden, those people all just start getting wiped out. Mm-hmm. But I thought that scene where those two go off together, that was pretty sweet. What did
you think when they land and they're like trying to come up with a plan? He says the plan is they back on the ground. Mando has a plan. Gives Cobb Fett's pack the Han-2 punch because that's like where's Boba Fett and he hits it. It's the exact same thing and he goes fucking.
I didn't think
off.
about that. That's of course. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about that. Yeah, and then when he's holding the bantha. With all this, explosive strapped to it, Mando. I just assumed he's going to, at the last second, jump out of the way.
Yeah, into the belly of the beast he goes, man.
Yeah, and what do you think he used to, because he comes out in some sort of like Storm-esque move from X-Men. Like he's got like
I think
lightning
it's
around him.
The gun does that, right?
The gun. It's because remember in the very first episode when he was trying to take off in the Razor Crest from the very first place he like jabbed that creature that came out of the ice.
It's like a cattle prod.
The hippopotamus.
Yeah. And clearly the Beskar protects him from the acid saliva because he was A-okay.
Yeah. Even like the portions that he's not covered in Beskar, it's like
they're fine too.
Yep.
It's all fine.
It's like it's a new age chainmail.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That he has underneath
I love that shot though. Like it was like that was gorgeous where the fucking mouth's open and he comes flying out of it and he's still got the gun and everything and you see like the blue energy coming across and in the way he fucking lands, I was like, you Iron Man son of a bitch.
Yeah, he does that little slide stop and then kind of just gives a casual look back at the destruction he just caused at like a freaking boss. And then all of a sudden Cobb Vanth is looking at him like googly eyed, like, oh man, you're the guy.
Yeah. You could have my armor. Take my heart.
You can be my wingman anytime.
Jesus.
Nice pull. So there's so much that happens in this right here, and I wrote so much in my notes that it's not like we have to cover everything, but I wrote these notes. Did you guys read them? Like I wrote them to annoy you. Like every fucking line is like a dad joke in this whole thing.
Yeah, you did a good job because I'm super annoyed.
Good. All right.
I just scan them because I don't want to read them too in depth. So I just kind of scan to go, what's he going to talk about? How's he going to navigate through this? And then I see little bits, and there's so many references. Like what was the Katy Perry one?
Yeah, I got that right here. It says Mando and Cobb, who apparently is a Star Wars collector, has a speeder made from an old and recognizable pod racer engine, Anakin's. They're racing to find Krayt Perry's home. That's what I wrote. Krayt Perry. Wow. That's what I wanted from you.
I like the at the end of the thing. He's just got this big chunk of Krayt meat. Krayt Dragon.
Yeah. It's like a giant chunk of steak.
It's like a big piece of steak, and I'm like, okay.
We're just gonna cover this up, with a little blanket, drive across the desert.
Hot Tatooine sun.
Yeah.
Medium rare. Krayt Dragon.
I wrote down there.
I feel like it's gonna spoil, buddy.
But there was like most of it was carcass, but they're rummaging through there, and then they find the
Krayt Dragon.
Yeah, the you were. I bet you had that the whole day.
He's waiting.
I can't wait to shout it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Krayt Dragon pearl. That was not. I had to look that up.
So did I.
So I went right to Wikipedia. Who wants to read what that is?
I got it. Wikipedia. Krayt Dragon pearls were lustrous, colored stones found in the last chamber of the gizzard of Krayt Dragons. The stones were used to help crush food eaten by them, and over time they became rounded because of how much they moved around. They could be found in colors such as blue, green, red, white, and black. Due to the refractive quality, particularly to the pearl, they could be used in a lightsaber if properly cleaned, prepared, and installed, though it was a difficult task. The pearls were seen as exceptionally valuable by the public, easily worth upwards of 100,000 credits apiece, as well as proof a person had killed a Krayt Dragon. To Tusken Raiders, a sign of bravery.
Like they obviously know that this thing exists, the Tusken Raiders, because they're mining for it and they pull it out of the guts, the gizzards, But if it's worth so much money and it shows proof that, you've killed a Krayt Dragon, how do they not, gift this, or this is the trophy to the Mandalorian who, this poor bastard's always helping people out, and he was always walking away with, less than gas money.
Well, I think he talked about how the part of the deal was that they got the whole carcass.
True.
At the end.
Yeah.
So that was, and I thought that was nice that he kind of negotiated a deal that basically said, for future peace, they're not going to come in and mess with you guys, and you guys don't mess with them, and
unless
you guys can
do first,
live in relative harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that was part of the deal, was they were like, yeah, we want to get that dragon because we want to get all that meat, but we want to get that pearl. And by the way, when I looked it up, it showed some note about how, and this must be from a book because it wasn't in the movie, but it says how Han Solo used a Krayt Dragon pearl to pay his way into the Sabacc game where he won the Millennium Falcon.
Right. Yeah, that's not in the movie.
That had to be in a book.
Yeah, because Wikipedia covers everything. And I did notice when I was on Wikipedia, they have now they have a tab. It's canon or legends.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
that's
and you
cool.
can switch over so you're getting, what knowledge you need, I guess.
Nice. That's good.
So cut to the shot. Mando's driving across the desert of Tatooine.
2 sons.
With the 2 sons, and he's got his hunk of meat, and he's got the Boba Fett's Beskar armor,
Yep.
and he's looked down upon by a mysterious character standing upon a ridge.
Yes.
Who do we think that is, folks?
Okay. Go ahead. You tell me.
It's Boba Fett.
It has to be.
Well, the obvious is Boba Fett. I
right, but there's too much coincidence if it's anybody but Boba Fett.
Right. It would be weird if it was somebody else.
Right.
Obviously, it's somebody who is a
clone. Yeah.
creation.
Yeah.
So that narrows it down.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, considering what he's looking at, the fact that it has to be.
I wanted to go back and look. Was his face sort of burnt, or
It was dark. It was dark.
It
looked
shadowy.
shadowy.
Okay. I couldn't
He
tell
looked
if maybe
really weathered.
Yes.
Like he looked like he had years of wear and tear on his face.
And he had a sniper rifle slung over his shoulder, which looked like almost one of the rifles that the townfolk had.
Oh, is that what it was? I
And
couldn't
then
tell.
he
One of them
also looked like a weed whacker.
Yeah,
Something else over his shoulder. So I was like, what the hell is
It
that?
was just he doesn't have the bag anymore. He's just got parts of a tent hanging out.
Maybe he's just out there. Maybe he's just out there landscaping.
Right.
That's what he's been doing since he's been retired.
So is he the one who found Fennec Shand at the end of Chapter 5? Is that same person?
No, I would say that would have been Cobb because you heard the armor. So I think that I'm wondering if they're going to go back and Cobb's got her in a jail cell or something. Are we still going to see them again? And what is he going to do? Did he see the transfer of the armor? So now is he going after the Mandalorian? Because we have to remember this guy's a badass. Boba Fett is considered the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. So
and he's angry because since he was a little boy, he watched his dad get decapitated.
Right.
So he's got some angst in him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got a lot of friends.
He's not the only one with daddy issues.
And if he ends up, let's say he ends up on the Razor Crest, right? For whatever reason, and they're together, Boba Fett and the Mandalorian, and they do at some point run into a Jedi for Baby Yoda, or he even witnesses Baby Yoda having the Jedi-like abilities. He has nothing but hatred toward them. So how is he going to react to that? So there's going to be, it's not going to be a friendly team for long if it is.
But it's just fun. If it is Boba, who you would expect it to be, so that's Cobb Vanth, Boba Fett, and was that it? There a lot of the rumors immediately we get hit with right from the start, which I thought was cool way to just bring us right into it and go, we're not going to beat around the bush here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see this person throughout. You're going to assume it's this person, and we'll see if it is. But it would be very confusing if it was not him.
Now, weren't there rumors that what's his name, Temuera Morrison?
Temuera
Morrison. Yeah. Weren't there rumors that he's actually playing multiple characters? He's going to actually be playing a clone. I think they said at one point he's in Stormtrooper armor.
Oh, I didn't know about that one, but
okay.
I did hear rumors that he might be playing multiple characters for sure. Because I think that was their way of trying to not tease it too much, is to be like, well, we don't know who he's playing, so he could be playing, different characters.
What did you think about the end, though? Did you think that you'd see him right? I mean, they really packed a bunch into this first episode.
Because of the way the first season happened and the way this show runs, I was waiting for that. I knew there had to be something at the end. It wasn't just going to be him riding off into the sunset. So I was like, what's going to happen last? There's got to be some sort of figure shown or something. And I didn't know if it was going to be a Gideon thing or something else. So I wasn't surprised, but at the same time when it showed him and he turned around, I was like, that's pretty freaking cool.
I feel like he's got to spend another episode on Tatooine, because even with him driving away, what's he doing with the chunk of meat? Is that his payment to what's her face and the droids for giving the ship a once over. Like,
man's got to eat.
Yeah, true, but like he has no credits or anything, right? And then if this Boba Fett guy's there, what are they going to do with him? What are you laughing at?
I just don't think that's going to be a structural plot point.
Hey.
What's he going to do with the chunk of meat?
Yeah.
Like, no way that he could.
Favreau's really hanging on that.
It couldn't
There's
cut
a
to
guy
him
in
just
the writer's room. Guys, what about the meat though?
They're on episode 10. Rewrite.
You act like it's impossible for them to just cut into a scene where he's in space flying around.
Oh,
now.
you know someone's gonna have that fucking chunk of meat on a plate.
What happened to the meat? We didn't resolve the meat. I'm out of it. I'm done with the season.
Did he put it in carbonite to protect it for later? Like, what is going on with the meat?
I mean, he wears a helmet all the time. You know he ain't gonna eat it. He's gonna give it to somebody.
Well, he's gonna, he takes the helmet off sometimes to eat and stuff, but nobody can be around. So does he make Baby turn around and face the corner, like while he eats?
It's like
stop staring at me.
Blair Witch Project. It seemed like was anyone else shocked when Bob Vanth took the helmet off right off the jump? I was like, oh my God, I thought you weren't supposed to do that. But Bob Vanth is just living by his own. He doesn't
live by the rules.
I know.
Even know him.
He's just fucking living by. Yeah, I just got this armor. I'm just wearing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right away, it pissed him off.
Yeah.
It's like, why you get to take your helmet off? I don't.
Knowing that he wasn't a Mandalorian, an official Mandalorian, whatever. I expected that would happen. The second he ordered the drinks, I'm like, well, how are they going to do this? Are they going to get straws?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a funnel on the side of his. He pushes a button, it opens, and he pours it in.
Drinks it like Dark Helmet. Drinks his coffee in Spaceballs. Just like through the little vent.
Maybe he does the newest fad where he does a lot of butt chugging.
There you go.
The beers, like kind of blockers.
That's what they're going to incorporate into this season, is butt chugging.
And then he's like, hey, cut off a piece of that meat and shove it up here too.
He has to puree it.
Daddy needs to eat.
Oh, quick note. There was a tweet I saw that said that in A New Hope, Obi-Wan was mimicking the Krayt Dragon sound to scare off the Tusken Raiders in that scene where he comes to help Luke. And so I went back and looked at it. I'm like, does that sound the same? If that's true, that's an amazing call back or call forward by them to use that piece. Because I didn't even think about the fact that he makes that crazy sound.
I feel like that'll be in the behind the scenes.
Right. The season 2
Making
gallery.
The
right.
Gallery.
But now some of the Easter eggs, like you guys didn't catch on to the pod racer engine?
Yeah,
Anakin's pod. Okay. Okay.
I just didn't think it was really noteworthy.
Really?
Oh no, that was the first thing that came, like when they're driving along, you're like, oh, that's it. There's so many of those Easter eggs though. I mean, and there's so many, like we've talked about before, where if you've read books and played video games, there's a lot of stuff from video games in this that I don't necessarily know all of them because I haven't read those books or played all those games, but it seems like the reaction on Twitter with people trying to, like last night, because I watched it the second it dropped.
Okay.
And the people were reacting, but trying not to spoil. And they're just all these like jaws dropped and all this kind of stuff from all these different things and moments, because they're so rich with those references. Nothing is an accident. It's all planned. It's all very
all in all, beautiful episode.
Yeah.
I loved the entire thing. It was very, very entertaining. I can't wait to delve into the rest of these, like the rest of this season. It
was an interesting, like it was like there was a cold open almost, right? Because it takes place somewhere else. I mean, he gets that little bit of information, but for the most part, it's a cold open. Then we get the whole contained episode, and really the whole thing is, other than that last cliffhanger thing, but he's no further off than what he was when he went to go get when he got the information and went to the planet. Like he has nothing. He's
back to square one. He's got the armor. That's it.
I love going back to Tatooine too. I love that. Like,
right.
I don't know why, but I can never get enough of Tatooine.
It's home.
Yeah, it's home. It's where the series started and ends.
When he goes rolling through that town, I was half expecting to see like the moisture farm somewhere on fire. It's like
well, and because of that, you're waiting to see people It's just because they include so much of that stuff. So when he was slowly rolling into town, I'm like, we're going to see somebody we know, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, like I think it was a great episode, and I loved that the whole, once the Krayt Dragon comes out and they're flying around and all the special effects, it was fucking flawless. It was beautiful episode.
So I'm excited to see what's next. You assume it's another sort of episode along those lines of him trying to find the next step along his journey to help the baby,
right? But
clearly there's other stuff that's going to get in the way.
And maybe we were wrong. Like the last episode, we predicted that most of the footage they were showing was probably from the first 3 episodes. But I mean, he's done really nothing with Baby Yoda yet, so like he's got to get him going somewhere. I mean, there's a lot that's got to happen this year. Like if they're going to introduce the Mandalorian Guild or whatever they are of what's her name escapes me right now.
Bo-Katan.
Yes, Bo-Katan.
Or Ahsoka. Yeah.
Or I mean, So I mean, they're got to pick this up real quick here.
Right.
So does he leave Tatooine right away? Is there something else going on? Like, are we gonna like once a year come back to this planet? Because
I think it all depends on the meat.
Yeah, he's gonna maybe he'll bury the meat in the in like an underground ice cave. I gotta come back for this.
Well, if I come back, I got a meal ready.
What if it's like you gotta age the Krayt Dragon and it becomes like the filet mignon of the galaxy?
Ooh, Krayt jerky.
Ooh.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just puts it in
puts it in the sun.
Yeah, then it keeps for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
Now, I assume he leaves. I assume that we're going to start in space next time on our way to somewhere else.
Do you think that's why he goes back to Navarro? It's like he's getting nowhere, so he's like goes back to them. He's like, look, I need a little bit of help here, but like, what do they can't help him with anything until he's got something to do.
He needs a salt brine for his Krayt Dragon tenderloin.
We're still on that.
You're not gonna live that down.
I don't know if we're going to see him go back to Navarro until he needs their help. Well, but he has the baby in that scene, doesn't he?
He's always got the baby.
No, but I'm saying,
yes.
Remember how we talked about how the scenes where it looks like they're busting out Horatio Sands, the baby's nowhere to be found. So we were speculating that perhaps the baby's been taken by then, and that's them trying to break him out to fund whatever they're going to go on. But when they showed the footage in the trailer of him seeing Beef and Cara Dune, he had the baby with him at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might see that next episode. They might get them involved early.
All I can say is I'm looking forward to it. I'm loving it already.
All right.
Me too.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about this. You announce it. What is it? What are we giving away?
Well, friend of the show, Dave Meyer.
You heard him last week.
Who sent us a question in the Maul Bag for later.
Awesome.
We'll get to that. He has been working on his own little side business of building sabers. And so he's done a lot of different things that he's been posting on his Instagram and all that stuff. And I know he's working on a website, and we'll get all that information out as soon as he has it all locked up. I can't remember if he's got a name for it yet.
It's called,
you have it already?
Yep, I texted him earlier because I was like, hey, we're going to do an episode. I need the information, at least what you can give me. So he says that the website is diamondsabers.com. The website is being built. I think there's a picture up there like under construction. So it's there. And right now he's going to be posting, which he has been, all the images of his work on his Instagram page. And I asked him if he was creating one just for the sabers itself, and he said right now he was going to keep it at that. He
also, I think he made a droid. And so he's dabbling with that, but a lot of his work is sabers. And so what we talked to him about doing for our big giveaway this year was making a dark saber.
Yes.
So he is making a dark saber. Actually, he has made the dark saber. That's the sound you heard if you listened to the end of the last episode, and it looks badass.
Yes. So go to Dave Meyer. It's DAVEMAIER on Instagram, or Diamond Dave if you search that. He's got pictures of it. We'll post pictures with the FACPA on Twitter. But yeah, you're gonna want to win this. This thing is fucking gorgeous,
dude.
I mean, you have one of his sabers he built. Oh, you didn't bring mine down.
And you've got one, and I've also got an extra one.
Okay.
I commissioned 2 for my kids for Christmas, and they are freaking awesome. They make noise when you like hit them together.
Yeah.
You can change the settings so they'll make different sounds, and you can have different lightsabers with them. But
are they heavy? Are they? What's the weight?
They're not super heavy.
17 pounds.
Yeah, but they're like
it's a lightsaber broadsword.
It's like a can of beer.
Yeah,
if I could relate it to something, or a can of Shasta for my children. This darksaber, man, he hand etched all of the lightning looking stuff that goes through it, and it's got the white light, and it comes. This thing looks nasty.
Yeah,
like it is cool, and it is super. Like he put some work into this thing, and the handle is so like it's. We're going to have to post pictures of this, obviously. Yep. And like when we give it away, we got to figure out the rules. Let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah, because
what rules are we going to use to try to give this
We're
thing
looking
away?
to run this thing all season long, so you're going to have to listen. Matt's got a few things down for like a point system. So the more things you do, the more points you go for it, and that'll put you more in the drawing, I guess, easier or more chances to win this Darksaber. And we're planning on giving the Darksaber away on the season finale episode of The Mandalorian.
Right, yeah. The way I've seen other shows do giveaways and stuff is they essentially everything you do. So certain actions, which we'll explain in a minute, get you an entry, and we'll just keep track of that.
Yep.
And then we'll just pick like a random number, and that based on whatever number you are in that list. And of course, the more chances you have, if you have more entries, then you could win.
Awesome.
So Should we get into what you can do?
Yes.
All right. What can you do to get entries onto this list for the Darksaber giveaway?
And keep in mind that Matt has a spreadsheet up, and he will be keeping track of all of this.
Yeah, you won't be. I volunteered for this job. So
sick man.
The most important thing to us is that people are listening to the show, reviewing the show, sharing the show with people. So that's what we want to reward the most, and interacting with us, of course. So I was thinking that if you do a review on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, that gets you 3 entries, and we'll just be kind of monitoring those podcatchers to see, when you've done that, to make sure that your name matches up with whatever. Go ahead.
I would ask that if they live outside of the United States to contact us either via Twitter or send an email so we can either send us a screen capture of it or just let us know where you live and we can look it up, because we can't, like the way iTunes does it. If you leave an iTunes review and let's say you live in Germany, you have to go to the bottom, click on the flag, find the Germany flag, click on that, go to your show, then read the reviews for that country.
Sidebar, stupid way to handle it, iTunes. Don't know why you do that.
Right.
But thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please share that with us so we make sure we're tracking everybody's stuff appropriately. If you retweet our episodes and I'm talking like say something about it, put a retweet out there, not just hit the retweet button, but maybe say something about the show, we'll give you 2 entries for that. If you just do a straight up retweet, I'll give you an entry for that. Also, if you send mail to the show for our Maul Bag, we'll give you 2 entries for that as well.
2 entries. Okay.
So there you go. We'll keep track.
Lots of ways to win. And the rules will be up on Twitter too. And I will see if I think FACPA is now on monkeypoostudios.com, correct?
It is. I have to fix something with the feed, but I've been talking to our man behind the scenes about it. And so there is a page now. It looks pretty sweet.
I'll have Dougie put the rules on the front page or something. So people can just go to monkeypoostudios.com and see what they need to do. And then they can win this. So you've got a few weeks to go into this, and I mean, really, what we're looking for is, we're giving something away, but like the idea with the podcast is, we're talking about Star Wars, and we want to talk about this with like-minded people. So let's build the community up, the FactBook community.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go into what we need. We're gonna have to get a bumper for the Maul Bag. I need to hear what that's gonna sound like.
I'll do that.
Cole, I'm putting you on it.
All right.
I was going to just scream like the character in the animated series, like Kenobi, something like that, but I can't pull it off that well. So
get tied with the Wilhelm scream in the back.
That's right. Well, and reminder, so you can email us at factpapod@gmail.com. That's the way to do it. Or you can also send us a DM if you want on Twitter. Either way, we'll get those. And then any questions and comments we get throughout the week, we'll bring in the Maul Bag.
Right. And you're really good at putting us in the conversations as well. But if you want to attach myself, Angry Ginger, or Neighbor Cole on Twitter, you can. I'm S7EVEN Days a Geek, and Neighbor Cole is just at Neighbor Cole. He's a lot easier than I am, and I mean it that way.
You should.
Yeah.
Because it's accurate.
All right, let's listen to this email from Dave.
Listen up. From Dave Bayer, a.k.a. the Saber Maker.
It's Meyer, man. Come on. Respect.
Meyer?
Yeah, like the
Meyer.
store.
Why have I been calling him Mayer the whole time?
Because it's the I throws you off.
Because I have a thing for John Mayer. That's what it is.
Maybe that's it.
I'm sorry. From Dave Meyer. I'm always thirsty. A.k.a. the Saber Maker. Hey, gang. Couple of thoughts. Have you Googled what the Sarlacc anatomy is? If not, I recommend it, as it will give you amazing context what Fett had to endure to escape.
Yes.
When I thought about it today, Fett falling into the pit really wasn't that long ago. Return of the Jedi to Mandalorian was only the span of, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Was that Anakin's podcast engine being podcast engine?
He did write podcast.
I wrote that wrong. It's supposed to be pod.
Wait, hold on. You rewrote the email instead of copy and pasting it?
No, because I think I caught. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe he put it that way. Dave, Did you do that? I'll have to look back.
Was that Anakin's podcast, I'm assuming pod racer engine, being used as a bike? I think it was. Also, seeing a Krayt Dragon on screen for the first time was unreal. I remember playing Star Wars Galaxies back in the day and running hunting parties to take them down for their pearls.
Oh, wow.
Really love the show's mixture of old and new. Love you guys, and as always, this is the way.
I love Dave, and we have to have him on a couple times this year, but just listening to the last episode when we're all like mumbling around or something about the Mandalorians or whatever, and Dave's like, well, no, this is how it works. He just like flat out tells us. Like, he's quiet the whole time, and all of a sudden he's like, well, let me educate you fucking 40%ers.
He's a very polite Canadian, and he didn't want to step on our toes. I understand. That was very nice of him. By the way, it was him that said podcast engine, so it's on Dave. All that one's on Dave.
Anakin's podcast engine. The show's since been canceled, but...
So you have looked at the Sarlacc pit anatomy.
There
right?
was a drawing I've seen years ago, and it was like if you remember, like in your old science books or whatever, and it shows like the layers of the Earth. So it was something like that where you can see like the pit and you see the Sarlacc and all of its internals and how like he would have like fought his way and shot, and then there's like this area in between where the Sarlacc the outside of his body and like the rock, right, the inside of the, and like how he would have to have stayed there and weaseled his way out or some shit like that. That was like one of the theories.
Well, in the remaster of Jedi, you got the beak. They put the beak in the pit. Remember?
Oh, so didn't like that. Did not like that.
Not a fan either. Real quick, I have a little biology of it right here. Let's see here. After implanting itself into the ground, the Sarlacci, which are the spores that travel through space to inhabit the pit, it kind of grows into a plant type thing, it sounds like. Grow downward like a plant, forming a pit. The mouth and tentacles were the most visible parts of the Sarlacc. The rest of the Sarlacc's massive anatomical features were buried up to 100 meters deep in the ground. This guaranteed protection for the vital organs and made it invulnerable to most forms of serious damage. The teeth of the Sarlacc surrounded its beak-like tongue and plant-like tentacles and tears. Teeth were also slightly slanted inward, ensuring its prey would remain trapped. So that's basically everything else. It talks about the tentacles that are fast, but it looks like it's a big plant that kind of grows downward into caverns. Right. So what I'm thinking, what Dave is referring to, is it's like a battle to get out of this thing in chambers. You got to go through like levels almost and get your way out of it. And then the teeth are fighting you the whole way because they're angled in. You can see that, like angled downward.
Yep.
It's like the tremors.
Yeah, I just like the original because it was just a big gaping mouth.
Big gaping maw.
Fell into. I didn't like the thing like coming out, and grabbing you. I thought it was kind of cooler to just be this huge pit. It is a pit,
What is the version that's on Disney Plus? Is it the special edition or is
it's special edition? Yeah, they don't release that other stuff anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Like I have DVDs of the original theatrical releases, and it's hard to find them. I don't know why. I think once they made those, they kind of got rid of all the old stuff, and they only sell that newer stuff.
Yeah, that's the way he wants it. This is
exactly
George's version.
He likes to tinker.
Yep.
On Anakin's pod, I think we talked about it a little bit. His podcast, Anakin's podcast, really, really dark places that he goes in that podcast. So be careful listening to it.
It's a mental health podcast.
It's just his journaling. He journals to himself and he reads them out loud.
Like when he's in that pod before the Emperor calls him on screen. He's just like, "Dear diary, I hate today.
Today, Captain Piat really pissed me off.
Killed a couple of younglings and."
Well, and he has like a regular segment, like why Kenobi sucks. It's just all
I remember this one time, he wouldn't let me go to the bathroom on Genosis.
Maybe I wasn't really the chosen one.
Was there? Yeah, that's the name of the podcast, The Chosen One. Were there any other vehicles in that pod racer stuff that had that kind of looking engine like he had? Because I don't think it necessarily needs to be Anakin's. It would be kind of a fun.
Well, they all had different looking engines. That was sort of what made it.
Right.
They had like the two, and then it came down to the little fucking pod that they sat in,
right.
and so Bulba's chilling somewhere.
So Bulba.
Yeah, but a lot of them also blew up in the race.
Right.
So perhaps it is Anakin's because his survived. I don't know.
What
was his last question? The Krayt Dragon.
Just seeing it on screen, yeah.
Oh, he just like seeing it on screen. Okay. Well, thanks for writing in, Dave.
Yeah.
Sabermaker. Dave Mayer.
Dave.
Sorry. You're not the only one who gets that wrong.
He's the mayor of Factpa Town.
Oh, I like that.
All right. Here's our Factpa factoid for the week. In the entire original trilogy, Boba Fett only speaks 4 lines. The 4 of them are... Anyone
He's
have
no good to me, Dad.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay. Let's let Matt just guess because he's the only one who hasn't seen these.
There's a lot of head nods. Oh my God. I think I'm losing it all. Put Captain Solo in the, what does he say?
Cargo hold.
Cargo hold.
Yep. Good job.
I don't know the other two. I'm blanking.
He does one where is what if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
Mm-hmm. That's when they're going into carbonite.
Yep.
And then what's the last one?
You say this to your wife every time she asks you to do something. As you wish.
Or if you're
it's the
farm boy.
Princess Bride line.
Yes.
Farm boy, fetch me that.
So those are the 4 lines, and he's one of the most famous characters of the Star Wars universe, and he's spoken 4 lines. That's it.
Well, and it played in nicely with the way we were introduced to the Mandalorian because he was a man of few words.
Yep. Yeah. Apparently that's part of they have to take a class.
All business.
The motor mouths.
They're very shy.
That's
why they wear the mask. They're very shy.
Right. Yeah.
Introverts.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, thanks for listening. This has been FactPot episode 10. Thank you again. We're going to come back next week and we're going to review another episode. We'll have a whole another show for you. Until then,
never tell us the odds.
We have spoken.